The spectrum of political ideology can be really confusing for people. Politics overall is a subject that most people find hard to make time for or try to understand and keep up with, because it's always changing. It's a constant movement of issues and policies. In today's political climate, there is a great divide between the two most significant parties that occupy Washington, D.C., and that would be the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. The ideologies or general ideas that make up each of these parties have seemed to intensify and become more polarized, which means shift towards one side of the political spectrum more so than it used to. So in previous years, politics has been a little bit more moderate. There have been an increase, or now there has been a decrease in moderate and independence in politics. So people are intensifying their opinions. Although it seems that with the modernization of society comes the modernization and neutralizing of political ideals, the reality of the situation is quite the opposite. With access to internet and higher levels of education, people are being made aware of a greater variety of policies from across the globe. Before the implementation of high technology, people didn't really have access to the details of foreign policy and perspectives from different people and cultures. Now that people do, their opinions have varied more and become even more polarized than ever. In current climate with COVID and Black Lives Matter movement, tensions are high and people are bringing up ideas that totally clash with each other. Socialism is the first political ideology that is on the left, and it's defined as a system where the community shares goods and services and distributes them equally among society and the members of society. This political philosophy is grasped by leftists and members of the Democratic Party. In a socialist regime, characteristics such as price control, public ownership, and no market competition are the most prominent. The purpose of these policies are to provide for all of society equally, ensuring that fairness and equality is available to a variety of people and classes, social classes and economic classes. People today have grasped socialism more because they believe that privatizing goods and market competition keeps our class system intact, which furthers inequality and the wealth gap, which means the difference between the poor group in society and the wealthy group or the richest people. So if that group widens and the gap grows bigger, then there's no middle class, which helps with society and production. Because of these current injustices that have been going on today, such as racism and sexism, classism, all of it, socialists believe that their policies can help resolve all of these issues. Capitalism is defined as pretty much the exact opposite of socialism. Privatizing goods and profit-driven markets are two key aspects of this concept. The goal of capitalism is to incentivize work and production. It focuses on the individual more than society as a whole. And capitalists want there to be competition between individuals so that they can work hard to produce. And if they work hard to produce, then they'll continue working hard to produce for themselves, their families, and production overall will increase and goods. Capitalists believe that if society splits everything up equally and provides everything for everyone without any work, people won't care to work hard and produce the unique and fundamental goods that give us options and choice as a public. The two clash with each other in terms of what they think is best for society. In politics today, conservatives, which are more on the right, and liberals, which are more on the left, debate these issues within these policies a lot. They have a hard time of establishing a middle ground or like a moderate perspective, which is consistent among the followers of the opposing ideologies as well. Tensions remain high, especially with it being an election year. As party polarization gets further apart, our government will consist of radicals on each side, which are extremists, basically. This means that it will be increasingly difficult to achieve political agendas and the goals of the parties. Disagreement within Congress and the presidency means accomplishing new laws or orders will no longer be put into place, thus leading to rash decisions like executive orders that sometimes cause the public to mistrust our administration in the government. When the public begins to dislike the government, it creates disruption in society, like protests and boycotts, which actually interfere with business and the economy overall because it puts people out of work and it stops production. The gap between socialism and capitalism will always remain distant, but the hopes of political agenda and efficacy remain in the hands of socialists and capitalists. So basically, the radicals have the power to change and create peace in our government. Cooperation and agreement is what allows for a smoothly run government and peaceful coexistence in communities.